Greetings, greetings, beautiful souls. Happy New Year. Happy New You. I am live. Today is January 3rd, 2019, 3 days into the new year. I pray that all is well for each and every one of you. I am just going to take a few minutes so I can share in case there's anyone. Greetings, Verwante. Happy New Year. Happy New You. How art thou? How art thou? I'm just waiting to see for anyone else that may come on. You give me a moment. Let me make sure I have the background music still playing because I want to make sure that the energies are balanced out between myself and others. I am choosing that. Yes. Pray that all is well for you in your new place. Yes. How are you doing? How's everyone doing? I know that there's been a lot of purging that may have been happening with some in the new year. Just give me one moment. Doing the best that I can. I've been purging so much within the past 24 hours from the new year, so it's been the most difficult new year that I've had to pass through, I would say. But you know, I'm here and I am I want to make sure I don't make the same mistakes when I go on the live and then I exit it out because I'm accepting any other requests. So anyway, I'm on here to make some announcements, and also I'm offering 15 to 20 minute readings for anyone that may need some insight for the new year. I usually would come on later at night, I know, but I'm at a place where I'm at least more centered, where I can come in and help any one of you. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Sharon Andrea. I'm a spiritual empathic reader. I read energy, and many of us are on our ascension path, whether it's, you know, whether you're just a light worker or whether you're on a twin soul path. And no matter what, all roads point to you. It's all about you. It's about you and others. And this is about what is happening on the planet to do with changes and Mother Gaia ascending, and we're ascending with her at the same time. So everything that we've had to review throughout the year, from especially to do with the feminine energy and what has had to be released, I would say, in terms of her shadow, is what's been happening. So anyway, I just said I'll come on here. So if anyone is in need of any assistance, if you prefer to have it as a private session, you can contact me by sending an email, or you can send me a a notification in the can't remember the name. You can send me a notification if you prefer to have it privately. But I'm here to help others. I also wanted to announce that at some point this month, I'm not sure of the date, I will be offering classes for those who are wanting to have it's more like in a group setting, and I'm going to set it up as a Zoom class where you'll be able to get assistance with asking questions. And it's almost like going through a review of your journey. And when I say your journey, because especially there's some who are just now awakening to their path, and you know, you might be feeling like you need some more guidance as far as what's going on. So I have the ability to read the energy between yourself and the other person. So I know oftentimes there's people that when they're teaching and talking about the the person that they're connected to, that you think that it doesn't matter and that it's all about just yourself, but it's about yourself and the other person, because you're sharing that same energetic frequency. And there are things that will show up in your dream space. There's things that will show up as far as in your physical world with others that you're interacting with. So if you feel that you would like to have some guidance with that, I'm offering the classes, which I will give that information on my timeline, where you can sign up for the class itself, so that way you can get to, because no matter what, this is about where you are coming to a place where you have to keep going within, because it's not about seeking outside sources all the time, because that's where spirit is leading us to, going within, going deep within. And we're going deeper within ourselves when it comes to self-love. And I've had to go deep within myself, even more with self-love and what I give out, and where my life force has been for me and connecting to others. And so you might find yourself also going through that for yourself, with going deeper into your own self-love. And you might think that you're doing enough, but then there's more and more. It takes you deeper and deeper. And, and it has to do with how you're connecting to spirit. And it's about also what's going on in the spiritual realm and not just in your physical world. And so being that the sun is in Capricorn and we're in the Capricorn season, there's a huge rewrite that's happening when it comes to how we're manifesting things in our physical world, that is not just based on what you're doing. And one of the things that have been so repulsive for me is for those people out there that keep talking about, oh, we're here to be on a mission. We're here to be on a mission, and we're here to to save others and stuff like that. We're not here to save anyone. We're here to be in love. We're here to be in an epitome of love. And that love is how much you're loving yourself, and not constantly catering to others. Because I realized that one of the biggest things, the biggest blocks for my own union space within myself and how I feel about myself, is catering to others, constantly giving. And so you ask yourself, how much do you take that self-care for yourself? And I'm not talking about just taking sea salt baths and, just getting your hair done, your nails done, or it's like, how much do you really keep creating those boundaries, boundaries and more boundaries. So either way, I just wanted to come on here. So if anyone needed any guidance of any sort, that I'm offering my time for this moment. And if you feel that you would like to have a private session, you can email me, or you can go to my website. Feel free to check out my website, www.thereturnofthegardenofeden.com. And like I said, I will be putting out something out there sometime within the next few days or so, to do with having some classes where I'll be able to offer some private speaking and any sort of question and answers that you may have to do with your path and journey. Because I feel that, my calling for me, that's my passion for me. What I love to do is that if I'm in a setting where it's more than one person, because you never know what you can get from someone else. And, it is sacred. It's sacred. And in most cases, when we're able to talk about the things that we need to talk about, it might help someone else in the same, that might be in a similar situation. So, practicing self-care is important, but also, like I said, a lot of things that are changing is the programming that is within the system itself, this matrix. And, I was even guided to watch The Matrix, believe it or not, the movie The Matrix again, which may have been like, maybe, I can't even count how many times I've watched it. So it must have been maybe the 20th time, perhaps. Who knows? But the first one that I watched, again, that had to do with knowing that you are, when you know what you know, but then when it's time to walk the path of what you know what you know, but then now, are you ready to walk that path? That even if someone tells you this is what you're destined to be, and you are getting messages from spirit for what you're destined to be, are you going to follow your heart and your passion to where you're to be and who you're to be? Because the fear can set in, And we often don't realize how much more of a block we have to who we are. And you know in your heart where you are to be, but then you don't follow it. You don't walk that path. And it can be quite challenging and scary for you, because you feel that you're supposed to do what has been traditional and what has been the norm. And there's so many things that are breaking down in your world, especially the divine masculine, especially those in the male bodies, the resistance energy. And one of the themes that has come up for me is being so dishonored, and being dishonored, not because it's Sharon being dishonored, it's the feminine energy being dishonored. I want you to understand that the energy of the feminine is an energy. This is the energy that has been missing for so long, why it has been so narcissistic and controlling with so many things on the planet, because so many of you are so afraid to express yourselves and to tap into your emotions and your feelings, to tap into what is really happening within your heart and soul, to be able to feel again. Crying is healthy. Crying is necessary. Crying is not about, oh, I'm crying because I'm in pain. Crying also means how much we can connect to each other. It's about being able to feel again and how deep it takes you. So when I cried for the past 24 hours, I was in deep pain, bawling like a baby. Bawling, feeling it deep into my solar plexus, because I was reminiscing, I was feeling, just because I got triggered from reading something, just reading one little word on something, and how I felt about how I was treated in the past, what was existing between myself and my twin soul, my two divine masculine, and I was regressing through everything throughout history and humanity's history to how I felt, how he felt, and how we were pushing each other away, that push and pull energy, because of how we felt about how people treated us and how much energy we placed upon the planet in helping people. But now is a time where hurt people keep hurting people. And if someone is choosing not to be helped, we cannot save them if they're choosing not to be helped. We just got to leave it where it's at. And it's really important to really weigh and measure where you're placing your energy on helping others. Because, you know, you can look and say, I want to go another route, go to someone else and do this with another person. And then that person is also another hurt person that's dealing with their own pain. And so for things to change in the world, you have to be willing to change yourself. You have to be willing to go deeper into yourself and ask yourself, where is that pain coming from? The habits you have, the things you say, what you do, what you speak, how you treat others. How do you treat females? Females, how do you treat males? What is your perception, and what are the things that you've carried within yourself that's projecting onto others? You know, I get often phone calls from people who just want to know when the love of their life is coming in, and, you know, when is this person going to call me back and thing. And I go right back into you. So if you reach out to me and you say that you want a reading, and you're going to ask me about your twin, and if you keep asking me about when they're going to call, when are they going to see me, I'm going to bring it back to you. And someone got upset at me because I said that. And I told her, I said, I come from a space of integrity. I said, the more open you are, the more you're working towards your own healing. And this is about rebuilding the relationship and the relationships you have with yourself first. It is always about yourself first. It doesn't matter whether you're married to someone, in a relationship with someone, as a lover, as whatever. Everything comes back to you. There is no exception to any of this, because it has created a domino effect in the world to how we treat each other. And I have the gift to be able to see where all the distorted energies have existed throughout lifetimes, and the views that have been placed on others who do try to help, because there's so many of us who put ourselves out there publicly to help others, and we're shit on, you know, and I use the right words, we're shit on. I was watching the Leo King did a live on New Year's at 1:00 in the morning, my time. And he said that coming into the new year was like really challenging. And it's because there was a reset placed on Mars and being in Aries. I always often say, check into your chart and see what's going on in your chart, because you are responding Your whole entire essence is responding to what is happening planetary, and most people turn their noses away because they don't want to, because your perception of thinking, oh, this is evil, oh, this is that. It's all these little energies and stuff that you pull yourself away from, not trying or choosing to know more and go deeper. And it's not about being on the surface anymore when it comes to healing yourself. It's time to go deeper. So I do my segments that are long, and I put so much energy, and I said, this is about how much more deeper are you going to go in healing yourself? How much more are you going to pay attention to the details now instead of everything on the surface? You go from videos to videos, people to people, seeking answers, and you turn away. And that's where it comes in, the part of scriptures with missing the mark. That's what it means in Aramaic, missing the mark, constantly missing the point, missing things, something that may be sent to you coming from the divine, and you just ignore it. And then you come back again, whining and pining about what's not working for you. You're not in your highest and greatest joy and blissfulness. Because why? Because there's something you missed maybe a week or two ago or last year that you still didn't want to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, why? Where is this coming from? And repeating that cycle. So Neo, like the spirit saying, I didn't finish my thought. He was told that he was the one. He was sought out. He's the one. And he didn't want to believe it. He didn't want to believe that he was the one. And so even though Morpheus knew and believed that he was the one, Neo had to believe and trust that he was the one. He had to accept it. So many of you know that you're led to your path already, but you're not accepting it. You're not accepting the changes to make with yourself, because one of the things with humans is they do not choose to want to accept change, the changing of the self. You think that every single structure that you have had, taught, seen, felt, experienced, however you choose to word it, that's the way that it is, and it will always be the same. No, it will not. Everything is breaking down, and that includes self-acceptance. Self-acceptance. And so Neo finally got it, and he remembered that he was the one. And so Morpheus said to him, this was the key for the first Matrix. And if you haven't watched it, I suggest, suggestion, watch it. See what you might get out of it and see how it applies to your personal life. Your personal life, not someone else. And he says it's one thing to know the path, and the next is walking the path. Two different scenarios, knowing the path and walking the path. And how much more are you surrendering to your path? You see, that even if it goes against the norm, or even if it goes against your parents' wishes, or if it goes against your husband's wishes, the patriarchal energy that has existed, that has pushed away the feminine energy, and where wisdom comes and honor. Because you see, if we did not have the feminine energy come through more and permeate on the planet, a lot of things would die. See, and part of the feminine energy is what comes through in coming into inner balance, masculine and feminine, what comes through from the divine. You see, Mother Earth is giving birth to a new set of children. It's already happening. It's speeding up rapidly. And some of you might say, well, I'm not feeling anything. I'm not seeing anything. Maybe it's not time, or maybe it is. If you're listening to this, maybe it is time. Maybe there is something that you're awakening. It could be just the words I speak. It could be anything that triggers you. But if you run away from it, it's going to repeat itself somehow through someone or something. Because every person that you're in contact with, every single person, whether you read something or hear something or talk with someone, they're carrying energy, or there's someone in place to trigger you to awaken to yourself and to come back to the truth of what's really happening now. Okay, what's happening now on the planet. There are many of you that may have just started awakening and you feel lost. You're probably going through deep depression, sadness, withdrawal. I felt anger. You're probably going through anger. And all of that is the ego is breaking down. The ego and the need to control things and to control others. And again, this has to do with how much are you honoring the feminine that's within you and that is surrounding you. Because that is through which life comes forth. Life comes through from her first. Not him first, her. It comes through her energy that we're transforming through the water element, through the tears, feeling again, and not walking around like a bunch of robots and disconnecting from others and not having empathy for others. You see, you can't turn a blind eye any longer to what is happening around you. And so the second installment of the Matrix had to do with Neo finally knew he was the one. And now he had to more than step into it. He had to walk it. Walk it like you talk it. Just keep walking it. And that space of walking it is where you're not only knowing who you are, but you embrace it and you accept it. You surrender to it. Okay? And that you don't give any attention to what other people may say, because you remember yourself, because you're awakening to yourself and how you're connecting to source. The way I connect to source is not going to be the same way that you connect to source, or the same way the next person down the block connects to source, or the same way your child connects to source, or the same way your neighbor or anyone around you. So that's why it's important to stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. If someone is exiting out of your life, so be it. That's the way the cookies crumble, as they say, because we're in an eclipse energy. And the portal for that eclipse energy is now open. And the eclipse is supposed to be on the 5th, but it's still happening. And then we have another eclipse on the 21st of this month, which is what is closing up that gateway that was opened up since August of 2017, which means that there may be more relationships breaking down in terms of marriages. All of that stuff is just breaking down, whether you like it or not. I don't care if you have money or not, or what you have in terms of stocks, bonds, and money. You're even being affected when it comes to money. The monetary system is breaking down. I don't care what anybody says. You can hold on tight to what you think you know and say, oh, no, things are going to be the same. It's, oh, well, go ahead and believe whatever you want to believe, because I know that I trust more than anything else what I receive from Spirit. I used to feel like I shouldn't say anything because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, or that, maybe they wouldn't understand. And I chose now to trust more than ever when I receive the information, because a lot of revelations I've put out there, and I've said it and I say again, tune into your heart, into what you feel is right for you. And it means that if new information comes in your way in the next few minutes or the next few hours, and you feel something, then go by what you're feeling, even if it wasn't the same 2 years ago or 6 months ago, because that was a different time. This is a new time. This is a new era. We're ushering into another time and space of what is now grounding on Mother Earth. You see? So all the things that was written when it says the old earth shall pass away, the old earth is passing away. And many of us are passing away with her. So you might transition out of your body if you are still in resistance. There's some souls who cannot deal with this energy and to deal with this. And it is tiring. It is exhausting. I've been feeling exhausted too. There's no exception for me. But I tell you, the more you ride the waves, if you hear what I'm saying, is the easier it becomes for you. The more you resist is the more it will persist. And again, ask yourself, how much am I honoring the feminine energy within me and what's shown outside of me? That is where the focus is on. And so that means that however you are embodying the masculine energy, whatever percentage it is, that ego part of yourself is breaking down. And so you may face this breaking down of the ego through someone else in your family that may pass away, or someone that may trigger you, and anything you've been in fear of not expressing, that it might just, go away. It might just go away, and then you feel some pain, or something might be taken away from you. And this is how it's all going to keep showing up. So it's not, this is the Armageddon. This is the the end of times thing, as someone might word it, because there's some of you that still may not understand, because I speak in different languages, I speak in different tones, I speak in different frequencies. That's how I relate to everything that's happening, and I have the ability to tap into how you may or may not inner understand it, but you know something is happening. So the universal thing that's happening is change is happening all around, and where you place your energy. Are you placing it into politics and all that? Are you placing it into more religion? Or are you coming back to the self and your own connection and your own intuition? Because this is what is changing rapidly, especially with a lot of the masculine, a lot of males. You're going through some deep purging. You're finding yourself probably sleeping more than you didn't think, or going to the bathroom more frequently. I mean, it's happening to all of us, but I know that things are happening even more intensely with those of you who are in the male bodies that carry a lot of ego and patriarchal energy from centuries, because it's all breaking down. Everything that has happened to do with your attachment to the female and your perception of females and that feminine energy, whether it's through your mother, girlfriends, ex-lovers, wives, how you think about things when it comes to the female, when it comes to sex and the sexual organs, all of that. You might find yourself not having any sexual energy, none of that stuff, because you're getting a rewrite. Everything is being purified through your soul and your mind and your body. Your semen, the women, everything to do with your vaginal secretion, everything that's in water, your blood, the generational bloodlines, all of this is being rewritten. All of this is being reprogrammed. Everything that you have spoken, said, that has been happening from you were growing up is being purified. Coming back into the energy of unity, consciousness, and understanding the sacredness of this path. It's not about, who am I going to be with only. This is about how are you relating to yourself and how you are following along on your path to where you are and aligning with your soul purpose and what it means with connecting to source. Because before, most people would turn to someone for the answers, and now it's about you turning to the frequency of source. And how many of us that are on the path, I've been seeing 144s even more than ever. 144, 515, and all of that is showing me again is I keep hearing constantly, and I saw. I'm looking up because I'm channeling what I'm remembering. I saw covenant transport because I saw. I broke the code of the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark, the new Ark. Okay. And that's a representation of the new Ark and the covenant of the Christ covenant, what God has promised us, okay? You can't expect to think that we're going to have change in a new earth if you're still doing the same things that you've done before, and you're still, yes, Rwante, I've seen 444 as well, and 1212, and I keep seeing 1111 more and more, and 1010. So all of those are the sequential codes that are within us, within your soul frequency, and what is shifting, okay? And it's also creating greater alchemy also. And so many of us, you may find yourself being more celibate, because when you're coming back to the self, you're going through a purification process of everything that you have accumulated in energy from contact you've had with others. You may find yourself that you have to make choices where even people you talk to, that you no longer can talk to them, because it interrupts your union space, okay? It interrupts the flow of things to come through you, because sometimes people, when they're processing through their things, you're taking in what they're going through and it's affecting you. And so be mindful of people that you talk to, sleep with. And when I say sleep with, I'm talking physical sex, because you are taking on an energy, and it might be vampire energy. It's like I notice even when I could be in my greatest joy, and then all of a sudden someone comes along, and then it's busted, because we are reaching to a pinnacle stage of where, as the light is shining through the darkness, and when I say the darkness, I'm talking ignorance, what is hidden, what is not known, what is like dummy, lack of intelligence. You're not seeking to know more, and you're just blindly getting up day after day at just being in the dark, or labeling something as this is the devil, this is evil, instead of asking yourself, well, if this is happening here and there, use intelligence, use your brains too as well in an intelligent way, and stop looking at just the physical things and feel into your heart and soul that something's going on instead of being a dummy. I talk about this in the book. The lowest level of intelligence is being a dummy. And if you look it up on Google, it says with being a dummy is when you're lacking intelligence and you're not seeking to know. Because you can know when you know something, but knowing something is just but what are you doing with what you know? When you do something with what you know, you gain wisdom. If you know something and you don't change with what you know, then what you're doing is you're affecting yourself even more. So you can't say that you were not informed or that something wasn't shown to you. There's a saying, if you hear something more than one time that someone says something, then doggone it, then think for yourself, there must be something else more than what meets the eye. And instead of judging and criticizing and going by let me go look it up in the book to see if this is really true, connect to your heart and ask yourself, is this true? Is this true? How does it make me feel? How does it feel with me being around someone if it doesn't serve me any longer? Do I continue or do I change? Do I do something different now? And if I keep pointing outward to this person and that person, am I remembering to come back to me, to myself? You see, because you can keep pointing out more and more and more, but if you don't come back to yourself, that's it. And so what Spirit is reminding me to go back to is this is the time of choice. It's a time of choice because in the second installment of The Matrix, Neo ended up seeing the Oracle. And I had a dream where it's practically like as if the Oracle came to me. And she turned around and looked at me and gave me a message. And it was another dream again I had to do with my two divine masculines. And it had to do with being in a church again, but this time it was different. It was a different energy sequence of what was going on. And so I kept thinking about the second Matrix when he went to the Oracle and she offered him candy. And he said, well, he didn't know if he wanted to take the candy. He said, but even if I did take the candy, you already know if I'm going to take the candy or not, don't you? And she says, that's a very good point. She said, but no matter what, it's still going to be your choice. And different choices have different outcomes, you see? And so she said, every time you see me, Neo, it's always bad news. It's always sad news, And that's how you might feel, that every time you think you take another step towards your ascension and your awakening and your freedom, it always seems like we're heading into another aspect of something that makes you feel sad. And I know because I'm living it too. But I tell you this, that it's necessary to go through these changes. It's necessary to go through what they call it the rites of passage. That's what it is, the rites of passage. This is the time of the new revelations. And that means that we are truly going and burning through the fire. This is what the sacred alchemy is all about, you see? And it's not about one overpowering the other, because everything is coming together now in a greater harmonious space when it comes to our balancing and the inner union space, and where it takes you to the next step and the next level. So now Neo is going to the next level now. The next level now is that he has to make a choice. So he had to choose love or choose saving the world. And what do you think he chose? He chose love. He chose to save Trinity. And it's through his love that he had for himself that he saved her. And she said, now we're even. He took his hand and he went straight into her heart to take out the bullet because he saw that she was going to die, right? And he warned her not to go in the Matrix. But she made a choice to go back into the Matrix because she knew that they would need her because the door was closing for when he had to do something to save Zion. And what do you think we are in now? We are in the element of Zion right now. The tribe of Judah is now risen. The code is in place. Okay? Pay attention. Pay very close attention. I'm not saying pay attention to me talking. Pay attention to what you're feeling inside as you hear me speaking. Okay? In what is transcending now in this time. We are in the time of the great I am. Okay? And it's coming through love and not what you're doing. The programming of you got to work and do something in order for something to take place. Okay? Because that programming goes so deep that y'all don't even realize how deep it goes. How programming, and it takes letting go to really get to see, because this is where spirit is taking us, is how much are you letting go and really seeing the truth of what this is. You see? That's it. So all I'm saying is that's being rewritten. The code when it comes to what you got to do. And now it's about being and being true freedom, like really, really, really deep freedom. So he chose love. And he had all those different TV screens that were showing all the different outcomes, different circumstances, right? Because that's what it is with you incarnating back into this time frame, is that you have so many different choices and outcomes and circumstances. Now there is no such thing as right or wrong. Again, there is no such thing as right and wrong. You see? And the reason is because as you make a choice, that choice that Trinity made to go back into the matrix to save others, if she didn't make that choice, they probably would have died. And Neo made the choice to still save her when he was before, I forgot what he called himself, because you had the key maker, and then I don't remember the name, what he said he was, okay? So let's just put it this way. He was before the element of God. And he said, now you have a choice. And you know she's going to die. But Neo says he never saw the outcome. So what did he do? He had to trust his heart. And he trusted his heart to go where he felt more drawn to. At the same time, he was clear on that the fact that everything was going to work out no matter what choice he made. And he followed his heart. He followed his heart to save her. And he said that he was not accepting her dying, because even after he went through the trouble of taking out the bullet, she still transitioned anyway. She still left. But he had the wisdom to know that he had all what it took to save her again because of love. And that is the key to how you will save yourself, is coming back to love. And that's what I have to say. Coming back to true love. Not the love that you think you've been wrapped up in with other relationships and other people, and you got to do it this way, and you got to stay this way, and you got to be that way, and then and that's how it'll work for you. Because I'm telling you that old system is not working. It's not working any longer, because you're going to find yourself being more frustrated because the other person is not doing what you want them to do. And it's because you always have placed an expectation how you think people should be. And it's all about how you are transitioning and shifting within yourself to how you feel is the best and highest for you. And therefore, at the moment that you're making that choice, you're letting go of the attachment of the outcome of that choice and the circumstances that might occur with it, but also being mindful at the same time that you did make that choice. Okay? And that's basically what it is. We're making choices now, what's highest and best. And the key thing is that as we're making choices, you might say, well, I have free will to make a choice, but guess what? Divine will is superseding everything that is happening. So no matter what, we are still placed at the right place and the right time with the choices we make. And as the oracle said, when Neo asked her, well, you came from the system too. How do I know that I can trust you? Because you're just another programming of the program. And she said, good point. So now what, right? So we all came from different realities, different existences from past times into this time. And so we can say, well, what's different now than then? The difference now is that the cosmos is supporting us now. You have support that is coming through your own team or your own guides, your own higher self, okay? Or even straight from source. The programming of thinking that you have to go to a middleman or a middle person or another person in order to get what you're desiring, that's false teaching. And I say false teaching because that's how you give your power away. The power has always been within you. The power has always been within you every single step of the way. It has never has to have been where you get it from someone else outside of you. And because many of us are stepping even more into our power, it's scaring others because they're not at that place for themselves. And so just because you are now remembering yourself as the one, they're feeling as if they're not worthy of this love you may have of yourself, because they're used to manipulating you and trying to tell you what to do, and you fall for the shit, and then you start to regress again and thinking that you're less of a person because you know that you are a diamond, you know that you're a fairy, you know that you came from those times when you have unicorns and the magic. That's who we are. Own that shit. Own it. Okay? Even if nobody else want to hear it, tough titties for them. That's my motto. Tough titties. If you don't like how I speak it, too bad. You can either get it while you're in the body or get it when you're outside of the body. Okay? That's how I say it in the book, and I say it right now, right here before you. Okay? I'm not afraid to speak. I come from the galaxies. I didn't come from here like, oh, this is an ordinary thing. No, I am extraordinary. And I want to tell you how spirit is something else with me, okay? I don't mess around when it comes to when I get my messages. When I get my messages, I take it seriously and I take it laughingly. When I see it, I just laugh. Even I could be bawling, and the next I see that shit, I'd be like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. And then I see something else again that validates. And so yesterday or day before yesterday, when I'm thinking into myself, when spirit says, I am the one, right? And that's what it said. I'm the one. I said, but I can't say that because people going to think I'm better than anybody else. And spirit says, well, what did I say? I said, okay, I'm the one, right? But who wants this? Who wants to be taking on the aspect of saying they're the one? Because then the other person will say, how dare you? You think you're so great? You think you're better than anybody else, right? And so I had to embrace myself more and go more into my own self-acceptance. And as I went in deeper into my own more self-acceptance, and I realized more, self-realization more of my connection to my two beloveds, and the acceptance of having love and how it expands. I don't contract it and keep it in me and leave it right there. I expand because it opens up more and more and more. That's what it does. And so as I remembered more of this of myself and what I was releasing, as I drove 2 days ago, I look on a license plate, and what did I see right in front of me? It said, I am D1. You can't make that shit up. And so I can't even say that it made me feel like I accepted more. All I was like, yo, that's what's up. That's how I related it to spirit. I was like, okay, yo, that's what's up. That's what's up. You see? That was past me surrendering. It was past me accepting. It was just is, and that's it. Because that's right, Rwante. When you're in touch with who you are, and you don't give a fuck what anybody has to say, and your soul just brings the validation just like that. What are the chances, huh? Right there in New Jersey. And I see the license plate. I took a picture of it. What do I talk about? I am D1. Because I know who I am from the beginning of time. I know my presence and I know my purpose. I know the purpose of who I am and what I am here for. And I had to go through levels and deeper levels of acceptance. The rites of passage. This path, this being on this twin flame, twin soul path, however you call it, this is not a path of taking it lightly, and it's to be honored because of where I've had to get and continue to be who I am. You see? And letting go of what society says and what people says and all that stuff and all the nonsense that goes on there, and how much you stay in a sense of knowing and detaching from circumstances and others and what they may feel they want to say and blah blah blah, like the same regurgitating stories, blah blah blah. If you know you're feeling something and what you're feeling, honor your feelings, because your feelings is the strongest language. Okay, your feelings is the strongest language, and if you really trust, spirit will, your soul that's connected to source, because that's what your higher self represents, your connection to source, okay, will lead the way. The key is, are you going to listen with sacred ears? Are you going to listen? Are you going to keep continuing on your path just like Alice did when she kept moving along on her path, regardless of whether she shrunk or she got bigger or whether she lost her way? She still found herself, and she knew that she had to find the right key to fit through the door. Was anybody there in that room when she found the key to open the door to get out of there? She didn't take no measuring thing to say, "Ooh, I got to get bigger to get through the hole." No, she just had to trust and find the right key, and she got right out there. That's right. And again, she was so small when the dog said, no, that's not the way to go. That's not where you're supposed to go. And she was so tiny. He could have just ate her ass up. And she was so tiny. And she said, I make the path. I make the path. So what are you making? Are you making the same programming like what existed before? Or are you stepping into your glory? Are you stepping into your own shine? So you got to ask yourself that question, because I just keep it nitty gritty right now. Nowadays, it's like if I got to tell people about their ass because, you know, they want to come and try and say something to me about something. And I just tell them, and I just say, because you know what? If you don't speak your truth and tell someone about themselves, sometimes when you have to, sometimes, you know, when you just leave some people where they're at and you're like, no, I'm not going to waste my time. But the time has come now. If we do not address those energies of people when they want to try to make it seem like as if you're doing something wrong, or you're not being spiritual enough, or you're not being Christian enough, or you need to stop doing this and stop doing that because, you know, they want you to stay in their lane with their kind of regurgitating crap, you know, don't do that any longer. Don't pacify. Let's not pacify things anymore. Okay. If something is to be addressed, you do it to shift out the energy, because that's what you're doing. You're shifting out that energy. That's a part of alchemy. Okay. Because as long as we're still here in this physical plane, and as long as we're still continuing to shift through timelines and we're creating new timelines, anything that comes in, because it can creep in very subtly from those little dark elements. And this is where I talk about dark elements, is the things that show up from people who they don't even realize that they're carrying energies that's trying to stop you. Okay. And I'm not saying that I don't dive in deep into, oh, this is trying to stop me. Oh, I'm so scared. No, I'm not talking in that sense. I'm talking when it sneaks up on you because you're all in your joy, and then they call you up and they're like, hey, you're doing devil stuff here. Or, you know, hey, where's my money for this? And blah, blah, blah. You know, it's all these different things to kind of throw you off, because it's like that energy of you, the blissfulness, and all of a sudden something comes in again. But it's your soul that's bringing it to you, of course, you know. But just be mindful. Be mindful of how it's interchanging and coming through that space, because we're filtering and we're processing. Just like you when you have a virus in a computer, and you know, no matter how many times you try to run the program, and the program, it keeps getting corrupted. And so sometimes you got to get another program to take out that virus that's out of there, so that way you restart the computer again and it's fresh and new. And this is what's happening with every one of us in this new year. This whole year is going to be even more of what's transforming and what's coming together with a lot of divine unions, because as we're ushering into 2020, that's the vibration of twos and fours. And Spirit showed me that everything is in like quadrants, okay? And everything is just balancing out in quadrants, okay? Just like I explained in my other video, you have two aspects of the feminine principle that is emerging, which is the Lilith and the Eve, and then you have the masculine, which is the Alpha and the Omega masculine, and everything is just coming together and coming into a great surrender, a great union. So I even had the luxury of doing a private live. I did on my own yesterday, and I was just testing it, and some of the title I put in there with my my two divine masculine names, and I realized, wait a minute, I was doing a State of the Union address, just like what the president does when the new year comes in, and it's like I was making a declaration. And so this is what you can find yourself doing, is truly declaring yourself with who you are, and you're walking the path, and you're walking the path because you know the path. You know what your purpose is. It could be as small as anything, and it could be as grand as anything, okay? And just know, as you push through, as you're walking the path, like Alice says, I make the path. You're making it. And sometimes you might have to take out the sword, and not physical sword, but it's like it's an energy that you're slashing through all the stuff. And that means that people might be leaving your reality. Some might be coming back. Some it might be permanent, some it might be temporary, okay? It could be even a family member, because this has to do with your sacred union, your sacred space, and what you are creating when it comes to yourself and all the things that you're choosing to manifest in your reality. See? This is what's important right now, you see? And go by what you feel you're guided to, and following your heart. See, following your heart, because we're heading more and more into the heart-centered connections. and how we relate to each other coming from the heart. That even if we don't speak the same language, even if we come from different cultures, or even if someone says something, but whatever comes out of their mouth, you feel something else, follow your heart. Follow your heart. So that's the message that I can give for you for today. I see no one has really said anything about any readings. So at least I wanted to offer that at this moment. And if anyone is interested in a session with me, I do offer Ascension readings. I also do twin soul readings. I'm able to read energy between yourself and that person. I also am a medium, so I also sometimes when I'm doing my sessions, sometimes a loved one will come through, because the ascension is also taking place with our ancestors and those who have transitioned. Everything that's shifting in your generational bloodline, as you call it, is what is being retemplated, okay? All the fluids of your body, every single thing, everything. There's nothing left. So some of you might be having more than one menstrual cycle. Know that you're processing through the purification of your womb space. And it's necessary, because in the beginning when they said that things were cursed among our peoples, is because, and all the plagues that was placed upon us, is because, again, this has to do with how you have given away your power and not connecting to source. And again, the disintegration and the dishonor of the feminine, and even to do with herself and how she also dishonored herself, okay? Because for you to feel that you're choosing and expecting for someone to honor you, you have to honor yourself and love yourself, okay? Deeply, deeply, deeply. It starts from you. And as you do that for yourself, the other person will respond, or anything will respond to you based on how you are working through that healing for yourself, okay? And for those who are in the masculine energy, again, there is a lot of rewrite that's taking place within that energy itself, in the patriarchal energy and the control system that has existed when it comes to religion, when it comes to politics, when it comes to money, when it comes to relationships, marriages, the contracts, okay, the contracts that existed with marriages, and where that energy has been placed when it comes to relationships, and the power plays and manipulation, people that stay in relationship that they know that it's ending, but they still stay in it anyway, because they're just like, needing something, or there's a need that's taking place here. So either way, that's what I wanted to say to you all so far. And I'm going to just sort of like say a little prayer for each and every one of us right here, as we're shifting through these timelines and what has existed in the past and staying present. And so, Mother, Father, God, I want to thank you for this moment. I want to thank you for light and love and wisdom. I want to thank you for everything that comes through, as far as how we are empowering ourselves and how we are shifting into that space of self-acceptance and letting go of all of the judgments that we've placed on ourselves and each other. I'm in gratitude for the change that's happening within ourselves, that even as we are crying or purging or screaming or whatever the emotions are, we are connecting to these emotions and coming back into a healthier space of emotional integrity. I am in gratitude for each and every one of us that is practicing more and more of self-love and having empathy towards one another, that we are using and exercising our inner wisdom, and that we are allowing ourselves to attain the knowledge for us to continue on our path to really over and inner understanding everything that is occurring within us. Because as we remember that everything that is occurring within us is also occurring outside of us. And it is through the inner that we make change. It's through the inner that change is occurring, because as we remember that circle that is right there in the midst of ourselves, that circle extends out and spirals into more circles and more circles, and the inner circle extends out to a greater circle. Everything that shows out in vibration and energy, that we keep remembering that it starts from within us. And as we all start to move in that space of continuous change, that we know that it creates a ripple effect on the earth, and a ripple effect in our families, and a ripple effect in the cosmos. And in soul, we are in gratitude of this. We're in gratitude for all of our angels, our guides, and our galactic families that are now here in our presence to help us along the way, that we're not alone in this process. And we're in gratitude for the surrendering of the process of how much we are changing and transforming within ourselves, and gratitude for this light and how much more we're embodying this Christ consciousness. I'm in gratitude for each and every one of you that are here. I'm in gratitude for any words that have been spoken and anything that has been moving and shifting within you, that you are feeling this within yourselves, and that you are expanding in consciousness, and you are also allowing yourself to embrace the new as you're releasing the old. Santa Shile Kundira Pete Tanamite Kuspera Pempe Shimere. Ela nedekito tu mira papan te chokore peslam te tishane kutos mi bare belam. Ela mede kuntus mir pashere keno te tishmala pe keno pisare pete kunira. Ela pete chushumira pe kinda de kuts mira kan chukuni meve tente sukuto shmebe tembebu. Ande pe keto sumira pa pechira kunibera te shlepa keto smira pete kondo smira tishnam bikita no bi. O ela malakin ne kits kuni tam shimera kitus sunkutin mira pe keteno kunislam da. And I can say, let freedom ring in our hearts and souls. Let us keep remembering that love is all there is. Love is what brings us back home, because home is where the heart is. As we continue to connect to one another, as we continue to transmute out everything that no longer serves us, and we're coming back into that unity space, that oneness space, as we continue to light each other, and knowing that when you remember yourself as the light post, that you don't have to go running after anything, but that you remember to be still and know yourself as the light post that vibrates towards this oneness that exists within me and you, and coming back and staying centered with the self always in every way. And so it is. So I'm in gratitude again for being here and the presence of the Christed energy that's here with us all, and that everything and all things that you put out there, that it is now done on earth as it is in heaven. If you would like a reading, as I said before, a personal session, please feel free to reach out to me. My website is www.thereturnofthegardenofeden.com. And also my email is thegardenofeden1111@gmail.com. Also, please feel free to check out my page, Sharon Andrea, The Return of the Garden of Eden, of which I also give information in regards to the book that I am transcribing for the planet and our awakening. Peace be with you, one and all, until we meet again. Ciao.